Ukraine is one of those countries that is very hard to make a prediction right now, especially because of the war. If you didn't know, which I think it's very hard to not know, Ukraine right now it's in a war with Russia, and the main part of the country that's under the attack is here in the east of the country, and some of them in the south. They are probably dropping bombs pretty much everywhere in the country, but those are the hot area. Now, we're gonna look at Ukraine from the past, present, and the future, and especially you can see here after the invasion, after 2022. I'm not gonna consider those numbers exactly how they say, because obviously it's a chaos right now. I highly doubt that everybody knows exactly the numbers, but they're gonna see some let's say main image, I would call it. Now let's go in the past. 1955, Ukraine has almost 40 million people. The growing rate is 1.33%, with the 500,000 increase pretty much every year. Migration still on the plus, and the median age is 27.5 years old. Fertility rate 2.3. For 1955, I would say it's pretty low, but still, 1955 was part of the Soviet Union, and 2.3, it already worries me. So where it didn't start on a good term, let's say. Back in 1955, Ukraine used to be in a top 20, I would say, even the top 15. So they rank in 15 on the global rank, which they didn't hold the position, let's say, until for today. Right now they ranking only 40. Now fast forward to 2025. Now they have 38.9 million, so pretty much the same number, I would say, with a yearly change of 2.96. But this number you're gonna see is not exactly very accurate, and I would say not even this one. Yearly change now is 1.1, migration 1.7 million, just because those people I think they're coming back in Ukraine. The median age is 41.8, so a lot older. Fertility rate is 1, which is still very low, and also the urban population back in 1955 used to be 41%, now it's 76%, so almost doubling that, I would say. Now let's take those numbers before the war, before 2022. Let's go for the 2020, in the pandemic year. Let's say Ukraine used to have 44 million people. They still are on the decreasing side, especially after the Soviet Union collapse, and you can see here year by the year they're still losing a lot of people, even with migrations. Sometimes they have on the plus here, but I will not trust the government numbers again. Like I say every time, those numbers I think they are actually much lower. Even before the war and the pandemic, 44 million people, probably it's lower than that, and now we know for sure it's lower than that. Even before the pandemic and before the war, the fertility rate was 1.2, so way low before let's say beyond replacement for the Ukrainians, and world global ranking was 33. That doesn't import that much, but it's a good number to see there. And the urban population was 67%, so already 2/3 of the population living in an urban area. So I would say not good for the war, but what we can do, never know. Now you can see here a lot of people, when the war started in 2022, a lot of people left the country. You see here the migration, it's minus 5.6 million, and the population, they say minus 3.2. So already have a decrease of, I would say 2 million people. I don't know how they calculate this number, but that's why I think they missed a few things here, and I'm not gonna take those numbers in consideration. Fertility rate under 1 immediately collapses, but like I said, those numbers after when the war started, it's very hard to put them in perspective and say those are exactly number. They're not exactly number even from those countries that are not under the war. For the Ukrainian who are fighting a war now from 3 years, I will not consider, like I say, anything after 2020 a real, let's say, clear number. Now let's go a bit in the future. Let's see what reserved for the Ukrainians. Let's say 2050. The median age is going to be 51 years old. Fertility rate, they're rising a bit, but not enough to replace the population. 1.1, 1.2 is pretty much nothing. And the global rank 61. Also, the urban population is going to increase up to 90%, which is again very, very big. So 100 years old, they're not even 50% in an urban area. Now it's pretty much 90% in urban. Now in 2050, it's going to be 90% of the urban area. The population is going to be 31 million, 32 million, which I think, again, I don't believe that number. Probably is going to be definitely under 30 million, 100%, but judging by those numbers, let's say what they give us, they expect the population to be 31, 32 million people, which I think is not going to happen. And the migration still on the minus, at least for the most of the part, but also the main change is the native population. They are still increasing in decline with every single year. And like I said, the population goes older, the people not having that many kids, fertility rate very low, and a lot of them moving in the urban area, so that always a recipe for disaster, let's say. Life expectancy. Now again, life expectancy for Ukrainians, you're gonna see some hits here because again, the war, but they usually are steady or a bit on the increase side, I would say. Both sexes are 75 years old, females 79, males 69. Not that well for men, not even reaching 70s, but again, they have the war, it's hard to justify those numbers are not exactly how you want it to be, especially for men. It's probably supposed to be like 75, but that's what's happening right now. Infant mortality 5.1, a lot in my opinion. Death under age of 5, 6.1, also a lot. That shows not that well of the medical system, and also you can see they improve them over the time, but still they need time probably and money to fix that. Now the main cities are Kiev, or Kiev, depends how you want to call it, 2.7, 2.8 million. Kharkov, I think they call it, right? Kharkiv, whatever, 1.5, 1.4. Odessa, 1 million. The rest of them are under 1 million, but you can see, like I said, the main population living already in the urban area, so you can have those cities spread around the country. Now, like I said, you can have an or. They lost a few people when they lost Crimea in 2014, I think, and it's obviously from 2014. If you see the numbers, you have already some decrease in population. I don't know if they measure that exactly. I don't know exactly how many people used to live in Crimea, but clearly you're gonna have some decrease in population, because I believe those people who have used to have a Ukrainian citizenship, now they have a Russian one. Now, for the future of Ukraine, like I say, even before the war, I did not know anybody who wants to go on a vacation in Ukraine. My country has a border with the Ukraine, and I didn't know anyone who would say, you know what, I want to go on a vacation in Ukraine and not in Italy, Spain, or Greece. So already they were on the bad track, let's say. And also, I still believe like at least 80-90% of Americans, not to bad mouthing on them, but for good reasons, they didn't even know where the Ukraine was on the map. And with those war, with all that, the Western government especially say they throw money at Ukraine, and pretty much their population doesn't even know when Ukraine is on the map. That's let's say one off topic. I would say I will have to say. Now, for the future of Ukraine, even the war stops, I don't think is nothing going on in Ukraine. Probably the people are still gonna have far few kids than even not talking about the replacement population. I don't think the fertility rate is gonna be 1 in the future. It's gonna be 0 point something. The migration still, I think, is gonna be on the minus. A lot of people are gonna come back, I would say, but also a lot of them, I don't think they're gonna come back, especially those who arrive in the United States. There's no way you're gonna leave the United States for the Ukraine, let's face it. Then even those who arrive in Western Europe, I think they're gonna stay there at least for a while. Yeah, the Eastern Europe, it's not like it used to be, not safe, not that wealthy, especially not with whatever expectation you have, but United States pretty much is gonna stay there. There's no way they're gonna go back from that. Now, I don't know exactly what the laws are in Ukraine, but I think the man cannot leave the country. But I can tell you, I see it in my country on the road. I see cars with Ukrainian number plates, and let me tell you, the only cars that I see here is pretty much luxury cars. They have a soft spot for the SUV Lexus and Mercedes, because I see them pretty much like at least 80% of what car I see here with the Ukrainian number plates, they are Lexus, 80%, and the rest of them is Mercedes. So they really have, I think the rich people got out much easier, and the poor one stay there to fight the war, because I see them, the men actually, I don't know, they are 40, 50 years old, and I see them driving. So there is no way those people could leave the country, I would say, without some special I would say agreements, but I don't want to go into detail. Now, like I said, we're talking now about Ukraine. Now, is that not specifically politics? I do not see a bright future for Ukraine. It doesn't matter how this war ended. If it ends tomorrow, if it ends in 2-3 years, I don't see anything good happen for the Ukrainians, no matter what. No matter if they go in the European Union, no matter if they go in NATO, doesn't matter what happened there. I think even the population has enough, especially with the corruption that's happening there for pretty much decades, especially after the Soviet Union collapses. Even the Soviet Union, everybody knows, in a socialist system, everything is corrupt. It's just the way things work there. And they keep that system even after the Soviet Union collapses, and when the war started and they caught them off guard. If they didn't have the Western help, I think the Ukrainian could capitulate it pretty much in the few months, the beginning of the war. Now they pretty much entered in the third year. In the 40th year, I think they already have third year complete. They are now enter in the fourth one, and who knows if this year is going to be the last one. But like I say, for the Ukrainian population, I think those numbers like we see in here, 38 millions, I don't think it's real. It's going to go down much faster than ever before. If they arrive by 2050 with 25 million people, they should be lucky, in my opinion. And even from there, they're still going to go down. Ukraine is the biggest country in Europe after Russia. Depends how you calculate it, how you make them. Russia and Ukraine, let's say both, they are on the first two position as the biggest country in Europe. And also with the flat line of the Ukraine, they could have a huge benefit, and they have a lot of minerals and resources. And in all that, they still couldn't manage to keep in check the corrupt system. And I think the people in Ukraine pretty much have enough. And now with this war, a lot of them saw the opportunity to just leave the country, and for them, a lot of them happened. But you can know, in every war, a lot of them actually die. I don't want to go now in the detail of the war, how many die, how many injure, and stuff like that. But there are also some implication from the West, because let's face it, when you support a war, no matter what, and you pretty much give them, anyone, doesn't matter who it is, you give them guns, people, they're going to use it, they're going to kill each other, just the way it is. Now, like I say, for the population of Ukraine, not the politics speaking, the population is still going to go down much faster, I think. Even the war started, I think the Ukrainian was in top 3 in the world with population decrease, if I remember correctly. But now 100%, those numbers, like I say, they're pretty much chaotic right now until the war ended, and you're going to pass for 3, 4, 5 years. You're going to have some roughly idea where the population stands, who's going to remain there, who's going to leave after that, because they have relatives outside the country, and already if they, let's say, settle in some other country, and those relatives, it's going to be a much easier way out for those who remain in Ukraine to leave the Ukraine after the war's ended. So that's why I think those numbers going to go even much faster down than even this website predicted. So yeah, if in 2050 they remain with 25 million people, they should be lucky. Now, if you're from Ukraine and you want to leave a comment, say how you think the things are going there, especially if the war ended, how you see it, if you want to remain, if you want to leave the country, if you see opportunities elsewhere, and if you actually think that something's going to change in good this time, I would say, just say in a comment, and I would like to have a discussion, and probably I'm going to respond it to the comments. So yeah, that was the Ukraine video. If you want to see the other videos, you can see it on my channel. And until then, I will see you next time.